Welcome to the Lands of Ruin game overview series. This video will cover the game setup for a 2-player scenario. First, you will need to decide which player will host the game. This only applies to the setup process and will not give either player any advantage or disadvantage in the battle. The second player's tablet will become the guest device. In this example, player 1 will be the host during setup. Ensure that both players' tablets are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. The host player will then select the new game button to begin setup. Once the setup of the new game has been started, the guest player will see the new game listed as a nearby game. Tap the new game to join. The host player will then select a scenario by scrolling through those available to the desired scenario. In this example, the host chooses the scenario called Fight to the Death. Once the host has selected the scenario, each player will choose the role they wish their characters to play in that scenario. In this example, both roles and objectives are the same. The host will swipe through the available options to the map that matches the table layout for this battle. While the app contains several generic map layouts by default, players can also create their own maps to exactly match the tabletop and terrain they are using. In this example, the players have chosen to use a generic map layout and mark the map sections on their terrain with orange dice. These represent the vertices of the map sections. Each player then selects the table side that corresponds with the table edge from which they wish to deploy their characters. After tapping Ready, each player selects the tribe they will use in this battle. In this early release version of the Command Console app, each player has 2 tribes to choose from. In the production release of the game, this screen will only show the tribe or tribes that each player has set up on their account. This part of the app UI will be updated before the next release of the game. Each player then selects the characters from their tribe that they want to participate in the battle scenario. On the next screen, each player reviews all of the choices they have made during setup. If they are satisfied with their choices, each player taps Start Game to begin the game scenario. The first phase of the game is called the pre-game phase. The first step is to deploy any rotters that are already roaming the battlefield before your characters are deployed. The numbers displayed on the map in the Command Console represent the number of rotters to be deployed in each map section. These numbers are randomly generated by the app each time you start a new game. The number in brackets represents the rotters your opponent will deploy. The specified rotters can be deployed by each player anywhere in the indicated map sections. After the rotters have been deployed, the scenario environment is complete, and it's time for each player to deploy their characters. Each scenario will define where players are allowed to deploy their characters. In this example, the characters are deployed near one another for the sake of an easy demo. Once all characters have been placed on the table, each player needs to tell the app where the characters are on the map. This is done by tapping the card that corresponds to the character and then tapping their relative location on the map in the Command Console. The exact position is not as important as ensuring that the characters appear in the correct map section. If the map orientation doesn't match the side of the table you are playing from, you can flip the map's direction from the top right menu. Once both players have finished syncing their characters' locations with the Command Console, they must each tap the Next Phase button on their tablets to progress to the first player's turn. At the beginning of each game, the app randomly chooses which player will go first.